they're best friends, so they're close, so they have a strong bond, which means the chances of anything sexual happening is much higher. I know we have the meme of the guy stuck in the friend zone, but I've seen situations where the friend zone does end up getting laid. Hey guys, Hector Castillo, Poppy from girlschase.com. Today I want to talk about if your girlfriend has a guy best friend and what to do about it. So I had a client message me recently about a sketchy situation that he got into because he wasn't properly monitoring his girlfriend's guy best friend. And I mean best friend, like a guy who's really close, right? I understand that girls are gonna have guy friends, but if it's a guy that she's talking to a lot and she has this close connection with, that's when you're getting into some trouble. So the situation was that, well, I'll give you some background. They have a pretty good relationship. They live together. He's a cool guy, attractive guy, pretty high value. She really likes him. She's also an attractive woman. Seems like a pretty cool girl. They've been having some troubles recently, which might be kind of why this happened, because people put themselves in strange situations when they're not feeling totally okay with the relationship. But she was out partying, and she was partying in a group, and the guy best friend was in there. Now, first of all, that's the first trouble, you know. I don't think your girlfriend should be out partying without you, especially with a guy best friend, but that's another issue. So they partied, and then it was really late, and getting back to her house was really far away. And so they decided to go to the guy's best friend's, let's just say the best friend's aunt's house. And she ended up sleeping in the same bed as him. Now, some of you are going, oh, she definitely cheated. She definitely sucked his dick. I guess it's always possible. You never want to leave that out. But based on her behavior and based on the context that he gave me, I don't think that she cheated. She could have, okay? You know, maybe I'll find out in the future if things change, but I don't think she did. You know, girls don't always cheat in every situation that they can. I've seen this on both sides. And it was still, though, a very sketchy situation. And she was a bit hesitant to tell him about it. And when she told him, she was like, yeah, I know, it probably wasn't the best situation, blah, 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 blah. And he was rightfully a little bit angry. And he asked me, he's like, you know, how do I deal with this situation? I said, well, you probably shouldn't have been in this situation in the first place. And that's what this video is for. That's why I'm going to teach you why it's not the best situation to have a girlfriend who has a guy best friend. So the reason why guy best friends, male best friends with penises that they would probably put into her if he could, is a bad situation. Because firstly, men and women are always going to have sexual tension between them. It's going to be one way or mutual, but there's always going to be that underlying sexual tension. They might be friends because one of them has self-control, but it's very difficult to say they're going to be just friends, okay? If you haven't experienced the women and men, you're going to see this is just fucking true, okay? I don't really need to explain it anymore. So always going to be some sexual tension. And she's attractive, so duh. Secondly, they're best friends, so they're close, so they have a strong bond, which means the chances of anything sexual happening is much higher. I know we have the meme of the guy stuck in the friend zone, but I've seen situations where the friend zone does end up getting laid. And part of that has to do with them having a strong connection. Women value bonds and connections and a man who understands them. Then all you need to do to get sex, to add on top of that, is some sexual attraction, some physical attraction, some game from the guy, right? Put those two together and you're gonna get sex, bond and sexual attraction. And thirdly, the reason why it's really, really bad is because they're best friends and they have a bond and there's that sexual tension. There's also gonna be a lot of situations for the cheating to possibly happen because they're best friends. They're talking a lot, they're possibly hanging out a lot, they're going out and partying together. That's creating openings for the cheating. And all it takes is one bad situation. You guys had a fight, you guys are having some problems in the relationships, and then she goes into that situation with all those things being true, gets into a bad situation like this. Let's say she didn't cheat, but in another situation she would cheat, and because that friendship of them hanging out a lot and having the trust of her willing to sleep at his family's house created the opening for the cheating to happen, okay? So with those three things combined, you need to understand that your girlfriend having a best friend is not the best thing for your relationship. Now, what do you do about it? The best way to deal with this is in the beginning of the relationship. You're gonna learn about her friends. You're gonna learn about her life, hopefully, right? You shouldn't get into a relationship with someone that you haven't done some research on by talking to her and getting to know her. If you find that she has a very close guy friend, first you wanna find out if they have any history together, or even if they don't, these things still apply. When you find out about this, you need to make it clear because it's easiest when you're setting the clay to mold it. It's very hard once it's hardened and they've been together for 2 years. So this is something very difficult to try and change up in the relationship. Changing the terms and agreements down the road is much more difficult. Now, the reason why he didn't was because he learned from her that they'd never done anything together and that he was firmly in the friend zone. But this doesn't mean that he saw it that way, right? And it's kind of funny is I knew that he's a little bit of a snake because the client told me that the best friend had told his girlfriend one time, even if I saw you naked, I wouldn't even get hard. Okay, that's just some fucking game, you know. That's just him. Yeah, you know, we could hang out, and you know, I wouldn't even get hard if you got naked. Okay, that's just called game. That's called making someone comfortable, so that if they do put themselves in a situation and then you know something happens, it's a very easy transition. It's flying under the radar. It's a very subtle game, and it's kind of douchey and a little bit snaky. So deal with it in the beginning. And know these things about the best friend, having said that. And then once you realize that, be like, all right, this guy's definitely bad. But in 99.9% of situations, probably 100%, a guy best friend, even if he's gay, right? I would even say even if he's gay. Because I've known a lot of gay guys who have done some, they have some fun, okay? So when you address it in the beginning, what you want to say is something like, hey, look, you know, the relationship talk happens. And be like, also, I want to address something. I wanted to talk about, you know, guy friends and say, look, it would make me uncomfortable if you continue to have the relationship that you have with this guy friend. I'm not saying you have to block him, and I'm not saying that you have to delete his number and never see him again. I just don't want you hanging out one-on-one with him. I don't want you getting in sketchy situations. You can even use this video and I'll be like, I heard about some guy and this is it, right? And if you have some experiences from your real life, you should use them because you have to be able to convince her that this is true, and nothing is more convincing than real life examples. And you can even explain to her that guys and girls can't really be just friends. There's always that sexual tension. And then most importantly, you need to explain that it just simply makes you uncomfortable. Now, the difference between making you uncomfortable and you being insecure and you being jealous and you being controlling is a thin line. The difference is you do it in a detached way. You do it in a kind of business. Be like, look, this is just not the best for the relationship. Guys and girls, it's really hard for them to be just friends. There's always that sexual tension. I've heard of situations where things kind of go awry, and it just wouldn't make me feel comfortable because the point of a relationship is to add to my life. And if a relationship is causing me maybe some worries, having some doubts, then I shouldn't even be in the relationship in the first place, because a relationship where I can't trust the girl is a relationship that takes away more than it gives to my life, okay? And once you explain that clearly to her, if she still has problems with it, well, then maybe that's not the girl for you. She's not understanding enough, or she's not respectful of you enough to listen to your wishes. But that's the best time to do it, is when the relationship is being formed. Now, if you watch this video and you've always kind of been worried about the guy best friend and now you want to address it, which I think you should, a little bit more difficult. I would say you need to wait for a context. You need to wait for a situation where you're seeing her text him a lot and you kind of say, oh, you know, he's texting you, that's your friend. Be like, yeah, how do you guys talk a lot? Da da da. If you don't know much about their history, just ask very casually. Be like, oh, I mean, she's gonna know what you're getting at, but you want to do it in a very detached way. Like, oh, you know, have you guys ever been together? Did you guys ever date? If so, that should make your fucking red flag meter just skyrocket. But even if not, you want to get that information, or if she wants to get a coffee with him or hang out with him or go party with him, what you need to say is, look, I've given this some thought in the past, and I think this is a very good way to bring it up. Or you might not even want to say that, because maybe that will make you look like you've been pining over it for a long time. Maybe you can just directly say, look, I don't think that's the best idea. And she's like, well, why? Be like, look, and then explain the same reasons that I gave earlier. If you find her being overly rebellious, or even trying to put the blame on you and gaslighting you, and telling you, well, you're just being insecure, you're just being jealous, that's when you really should start to get a little bit suspicious, because that either means that she does have an attraction to him and a strong sexual connection with him, and then she doesn't want to lose that from her back pocket, or she doesn't respect you enough to respect your wishes. Both of them are bad. They can both be true at the same time, but they're both bad. If you find yourself in that situation, you need to really pull back your emotions and start to reevaluate the relationship. And you can even express that to her. If she starts acting like that, you need to say, this isn't exactly the response that I was expecting. You know, I'm expressing to you that I have a genuine concern about the relationship, and you're being very defensive, and that makes me very suspicious. And start to give that hint that you are kind of like, and that's gonna reveal her feelings. If she gets even more defensive and more accusatory, something may have already happened, something could be happening. You're in a risky situation. Now, if she's understanding, then you're in a good place. It means she respects you, and it means that there's really not that much there. But the best outcome is, of course, that she listens to you and that she accepts your concerns and respects your wishes and stops seeing him as much. The rules that I would give is that you can't meet one-on-one. One time I had a girl say, I guess we could, meet together. I'm not gonna fucking take my girlfriend on a date with another guy. That's essentially how I think about it. Like, I'm not gonna be the third wheel for my girlfriend. That's like super fucking cucky. I would just say, look, if he's in a group situation, that's fine. If he wants to check in on you every couple months and say hello, okay, that's normal. That's just a basic friendship. But I don't want you guys hanging out one-on-one. I don't want you guys texting all the time. I don't want you guys FaceTiming and calling and sending memes to each other and all this. That's going too far. That's not what I signed up for, or it's not what I want to be a part of anymore. And the attitude you need to have, I wouldn't say it up front unless it gets really bad, but the attitude you need to have is, if that's the kind of relationship you want, where you're allowed to have these side relationships, then that's not the relationship that's gonna make me comfortable, and I'm not okay with it. And then essentially, you're not threatening to break up with her, but what you're telling her, because that's a little bit toxic when you always hang the threat to break up with her over her head, and that creates a lot of problems. But you're essentially communicating that if this relationship isn't what I want, then I'm not gonna be in it anymore, because you have enough self-respect to want a relationship that you're comfortable with. And you should be in a relationship that makes you comfortable, because the relationships in your life, sexual, social, familial, need to add to your life more than they take away from it. Okay, cool. Hector Castillo, Poppy from girlschase.com. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, follow me on Instagram. I'll see you soon. Ciao.